Hi everyone, and welcome to the last scheduled online class for 2020. We will probably get through the class quite quickly because what we'll do is what we've been doing in the last couple of weeks, which is follow me and I'll give you instructions when I need to. So I'm going to give you one or two really important things to remember, okay, because it's easy to forget, and that is that with your posture, before you move into any pose, because we want you to move from the core, so your core is here, we want you to push your bottom bones towards your heels, lift your pubic bone and your belly up before you move into any pose. Okay, because if your bum's sticking out and you twist, you're going to maybe niggle your lower back. But if you do it this way, then your twist comes from your waist area, so it's much easier to twist from your waist. Okay, so same when I'm doing these half moon poses. Like if I do that, obviously my natural position is my bum wants to stick out, my back wants to arch, and potentially that could niggle some people. So if I think, okay, I'm going to push my sitting bones to my heels, I'm going to lift my pubic bone, and suddenly that becomes a lot safer and a lot more comfortable. So I just wanted to let you know to remember that at all times, particularly if you've got niggly bits in your lower back. So let's come down to the mat. You might be there already, and either come into Baddha Konasana like I'm doing now if you find that comfortable, so with the soles of your feet together. If that is not comfortable for you, you could prop it, or you could just pop your feet on the floor like I'm doing now for constructive rest position. Okay, and just close your eyes, give yourself a few moments to scan through your body, so you're really paying attention to what's happening physically before you do the class. You'll notice that your body and how you practice feels different depending on what time of day you're practicing, and it can also relate to what you've eaten. So sometimes if you're doing a practice in the morning and you haven't eaten much the night before, or you've had really light food the day before, your body moves a lot more easily. So this is all related to our flexibility. And some days it just doesn't come together at all. So try not to be frustrated, just be aware of these things. So we're just checking in, just to be aware of any tension that we might be holding on to, any stiff muscles, and also any injuries that we might be nursing or we might be living with. Sometimes we've got chronic things going on and we're just working out ways to manage excuse me, the cough that never goes away. Also check in with how you're feeling generally. Where are your energy levels at the moment? Are you tired? Have you got something on your mind? A couple of weeks until Christmas, there's usually lots going on. We're going to do some slightly longer inhalation breaths to start. So these breaths need to be really slow. It's just to bring your attention to your breath. Okay, just to make you a little bit more aware of how you're breathing and how tension or what you do with your body can change your breath. So I want you to gently push down on the pelvic floor before you breathe in. And that way the breath starts quite low in the belly. And we want a little bit of air in the lower belly, maybe the majority across the main part of the belly, so across the navel area, a little bit in the lower chest, a little bit in the collarbone area, and still space to spare in the lungs. Alright, so we don't want to be full. We want 3/4 of a lung full. Now with your exhalation, you don't need to hear it, doesn't need to feel like you're pushing the air out. I just want you to experience a sense of complete softness and release in your body. That's going to be your exhale. So not all the air is going to come out. Don't worry about that for the sake of this exercise. Generally, through the practice, natural breathing is best, and we all breathe a little bit more naturally when we're not holding onto tension in our body. That's a bit of a habit squeezing this, that and the other. So as much as possible, relax. And use bandha, energy locks, to create little muscle activations to keep your body safe. Complete the exhalation round that you're on, and bring your knees together if they're not together already. And just start by pressing your toes, your heels, the soles of your feet down into your mat. Get a sense of the texture of your mat and how it feels beneath your feet. Lift your pubic bone slightly. Bring your chin in as if you were trying to flatten your spine into the mat. And if it's more comfortable for you, bring one knee at a time towards your armpits. Now in this position, relax for a few moments. Remind yourself to let go of expectation, what's going to happen, what might happen. Soften everything. And then when you're ready, hold on to your shins and bring your knees just that little bit closer, but without forcing. Sorry, it's very annoying. I'm still blaming it on the Glen 20 extravaganza that happened earlier on in the year. So we're going to create some resistance. Push your shins into your palms and your palms gently but firmly back into your shins. And relax. That might feel a little bit easier. And we're going to do a fish pose now, variation of fish pose. So broaden across the upper back to press the shoulder blades down. And then with your chin in, relax the belly. And then expand the tummy as you inhale. So feel like you're trying to get your belly, your chest and your collarbone up towards the ceiling. So feel the middle spine moving away from the mat and the front of the body expanding. Relax and allow the back of your body to sink back down. Bring your arms in between your thighs. Bring your chin in if you can, and push your arms into your inner thighs and your inner thighs back into your arms. And then relax. Take your palms if you can to your outer knees and push your palms into your outer knees and your outer knees into your palms. And then relax. Bring your knees together, pop the arms down by the side and give your hips a little bit of a wiggle. So from the left to the right side. So this time check in with the lower part of your spine. Just see if there's anything going on there that you need to be mindful of. And then if you feel comfortable in your lower back, you can change the movement. You don't have to. And this time maybe move the lower part of the spine in a circle. So you can feel each of the four corners of your lower back gently connecting with the ground. And take it back. Opposite direction. And finishing off. So bringing your knees in and giving your hips one last little wiggle from the left to the right side. Bring your thighs as close to the tummy as you can. Take your fingertips to the bottom of the mat. So you want to feel like you're moving your shoulders away from your ears. Leave your head on the floor if that's preferable. Otherwise, expand the tummy on the inhale, chin to the throat, peel the upper body off the mat. Check your tummy is breathing. Now, if you do straighten your leg and your head's on the floor, obviously your leg needs to be on the floor as well, otherwise it'll feel hideous. Otherwise, if you can, you straighten your right leg, extending into the ball of the right foot. Breathe into your tummy, and ideally these side abs are nice and soft. That's what you're aiming for. And bring your right thigh back. Try again. Left leg straight, extending into the ball of the left foot. Breathe into the tummy, nice and soft. And bring your left thigh back. Now, if you need to, lie down, roll to the right side, come to sitting and then standing in your own time. Otherwise, you can extend into the balls of your feet, little breath in, come up to sitting and possibly straight up to standing. Another reminder before we go through the main part of the practice, and that is you don't have to follow me into the deeper version of the pose. It should be pretty obvious. I'll start at the beginning, I'll do a medium variation, and then I'll probably go into the harder variation. So just work where you're at. So from here, just tilt your weight forward, round out your back, so your toes are going to grip the mat, and push again your groins forward. So in other words, it's exactly what I was saying before. Bottom bones to the heels, lift the pubic bone. Make sure you're extending out through the crown of your head so you don't look like a tortoise. And you can follow me more or less, just trying to make all your movements during the class circular in some way if you can. So life and universe tends to be circular, not in a straight line. Couple more. Last one. A bit like climbing a rope. Last two, we're going to do the vinyasa. Changing it up after this one. Five. Last one, we'll go back to the beginning. Last one, we're going to go back to the beginning and do one more. Last two. Five. Last one. Cocktail. Last one, over to the right side. We do the side stretch. Half moon pose. Lift the pubic bone. Crisscross. Second side, so right leg back, half moon. Crisscross. When you're ready, left leg back. Last one. Weight to the front foot. Simple. Harder. Challenging. Try and keep your ribs in. Push back. Push back and scoop forward. Stretch them out apart with your feet. I've seen some people in class doing it like that. You can hurt your knee. It's not the same pose. When you're ready. Awesome. check in, should feel a bit different. Second side, right leg. Last one. Ribs in. I'm not sure if you can hear this, but it sounds like I live 2 minutes from the airport. I'm not sure what's going on. And right foot back, so I'm pushing my weight backwards, pushing this leg forward, this sitting bone forward. Stretch the mat apart with your feet. This will help release your hamstring when you're ready. Lovely. When you're ready, left leg back. Weight to the back foot. So back foot 1 meter from the front foot. Stretch the mat apart with the feet. Warrior 2. Just be mindful of your alignment in Warrior 2. Reverse warrior. Side angle pose, simple, challenging. I don't know what's going on, it's very bizarre. Back into warrior, reverse warrior, and right arm forward, left arm under. All right, now if you take your weight back, it's easier. Simple twist, trickier twist maybe because you've got to come up. And side stretch, push the front sitting bone forward. The Karate Kid, you can do it with the foot on the floor if you want to. Second side, when you're ready, right? It's like War of the Worlds or something. 1, 2, 3. Last one. Who's listening to this who doesn't live close, there is an RAF base close. Maybe that's what it is, I don't know. Having some exercises today. Warrior 2. So again, just be mindful of your alignment. Warrior 2. Reverse warrior. side angle, so simple, tricky. Back into warrior, reverse. Easier twist, trickier twist. And side stretch. Irene, if you're out there, I'm sure you're wondering, like me, what the hell is going on. And karate. Lovely. All right, Gadget so let's do a little swim. A little half moon, come into the pose. Obviously make it easier if you need to, but nice strong feet. That will help to protect your knees. Drop the tailbone. When you're ready, fancy hands. Stay or come up. Swap. Forward. Side stretching. Oh, here comes a dog. She's wondering what's going on as well, twisting. And back to the first position. Shoulders, arms up. And like J-Lo. Prasarita Padottanasana. So adjust your feet, push into the outer feet, grip with the toes, squeeze your heels towards the midline. Now if you need to, you can walk your hands forward. Otherwise, you can walk your hands between your feet and let your head relax. And then from here, walk your hands forward if they're not there already. Now you can shimmy your feet together or a little bit closer together. Otherwise, if you don't mind doing a little jump, do a little jump, tuck forward and lengthen between the fingers. Now you're probably going to go to the right side because that's the top of your mat, but I'm going to go the other side so that when I do Gadget stand in a minute, I'm not going to have my back to you. All right, so you can see how when I shimmy backwards and forwards, my feet are just turning towards the top of the mat. Okay, and arms up, forward, slide the thigh to the forward into the chest, and foot to the floor. Yeah, the dog's over there. She's probably thinking this is the weirdest thunderstorm I've ever heard in my life. Anyway, little swim, right leg back into Gadget stand. And this time, make sure that your feet are strong, heels to toes, bottom bones to the heels, drop the tailbone, relax the belly. And we're going to do some energy balling. Well, they've gone away for a few minutes, thank goodness. All right, so just relax, let your spine relax, let your ribs release. I'll tell you when we're going to finish up. And when you're ready, cross it over, shoulders in, arms up, and hold on to your inner thighs. So we're going to do a couple of Uddiyana Bandhas. If you don't feel like doing these with me, you don't have to. You can just hang out here, or you can go straight into that forward bend. I'll explain it. You can do 2 on 1 drop, which is what I'm going to be instructing. If you don't fancy that, just do what you normally do, if you normally do this. So when you're ready, exhale completely, belly back to spine, and lift the contents of your belly as if into your chest cavity. Let it drop. Try again. Let it drop. Little breath in. and do one more. So this time I won't say it, quite hard to say it while I'm doing it. I'll just do it and you do either 1 or 2 lifts on one exhale when you're ready. Belly back to spine and lift. Relax. Little breath in when you need to. Hands on the floor if you can. Adjust your feet so that they're slightly pigeon-toed. Push into the outer feet and grip with your toes, but imagine you're trying to get your feet back into just down. Okay, so that's important because it stops you sinking into the inner thighs, will help to protect the ankles, make them strong, and also helps to protect your knees and makes your knees strong. So all these things are important if in the end we want to protect our hips. Let your head relax if you can. If that doesn't feel nice for you, you can walk your hands forward. You can always use a block or a bolster. Check for tension that doesn't need to be there. If it's not serving you, there's no point in it. This tension uses a lot of energy, makes us tired, blocks the flow of blood and useful information around the body. Alright, now today we're going to do a hypothetical handstand. Unless you know that you can do one, you can do one if you want to. Don't hurt yourself though. So what we're going to do is just walk our hands a bit further forward, spread the fingers, press the fingers down as well as the palms, so really distribute your weight. Now if you look at your inner elbows, they're probably facing each other, so what I want you to do is make sure they go forward like that. All right, keep a little tiny bend in your elbow and then look forward, not backwards, because if you were going to do a handstand, you never get anywhere if you look backwards, you just do a roly-poly. And then from here, focusing on your belly, feel like you're pushing your navel towards your thumbs. You see the shape of my back when I do that? That's when I'm in a natural habitual position. But if I push forward, my back rounds out like a cat pose, and then I come up onto my toes and look forward. And then you can imagine, if you want to, your feet slowly floating up towards the ceiling. You can do a couple of fancy things while you're there, in your mind maybe, or in reality, and then float your feet back down. Very good. And from here you can either shimmy or jump your feet a little bit closer together, lengthen between your fingers, and you can go back to your original position, but I'm going to go to the top of the mat so that you can see me. So I'm going to the left. So adjust your feet and tuck under. And pop your foot down. So have your feet about hip width apart. Bend your knees a little bit. Bottom bones to the heels. Lift the pubic bone again. I'm going to do some more energy balling. Well, thank goodness they've gone. I wondered what was going on then. So we've got 3 options for a forward bend. And if you're really feeling a little bit stiff in your back or your legs, maybe just pop your palms on your thighs and do this variation. You could take your palms to your calves if you've got a little bit more movement. And if you're quite flexible and you feel like you're able to do the next one, that's where you take your arms behind, cross over at the wrists, bring the hands back through. So you're grabbing left shin with right hand, right shin with left hand. Feel like you're pushing your bottom bones forward and your armpits back. And you can see I'm not looking backwards, I'm looking just between and slightly above my big toes. Relax, let your arms drop, let your head relax. This is Uttanasana, it's a very relaxing variation. My legs aren't straight, I'm not forcing it. So you can come down into cat pose if you've had enough, and you could kneel and stretch forward. I'm going to take you through some chair poses if you'd like to join me doing those ones. So you bend the knees and bring the arms forward. So that's a fairly medium version, but if you wanted to make that easier, you straighten your legs a little bit more. If you want to challenge yourself, arms up, stretch the mat apart with your feet, and feel as if you're taking your bottom towards the floor. Don't forget to relax and back into Uttanasana. Take the arms behind you if possible, interlink. Shoulders away from the ears, possibly arms up and over your head. And you can stay, or again, we can try chair pose in this position, a bound chair pose. So bending the knees and lifting the pubic bone, possibly coming up onto the balls of your feet. Relax. Back into Uttanasana and then into cat pose. So spread your fingers, press all your fingers down into your mat. So that's 4 fingers on each hand. And just gently lift the palms. And we're just going to emphasize that little press into the little finger first, then the ring finger, middle finger, and then the index finger. And then we'll do that again quickly. So when we take the thumb pad and the palm back to the mat, we're a little bit more aware of what we all do habitually, which is sink into the wrist. So we want to protect our hands. We've got quite a big surface there that we can utilize. We can distribute our weight a little bit more efficiently. So again, inner elbows forward, round out the back by pushing the bum bones towards the heels of the hands. And when you're ready, little breath in, left arm under if possible, head on the floor or on a block or a cushion, and press your right hand down quite firmly. Feel like you're pulling your left shoulder back to the opposite side. You could add on by lengthening into the right fingertips, possibly bringing your hands into a prayer position. And then come back up into the cat. Grab the mat, bottom bones forward, little breath in, second side. The right arm under, head on the floor, chin in if possible. Press the left palm down. Feel like you're pulling your right shoulder to the opposite side, possibly lengthening into the left fingertips. Maybe bringing your hands into prayer position. And back into cat pose. Ustrasana variation, so coming up onto the shins if possible, push the belly slightly forward and bring the arms up. So that might be enough. Otherwise, keep pushing the belly and the groins forward and lean back a little bit. And then from here, interlink the hands behind, so shoulders down, arms back. A little baby version of hair pose could be something like that. But if it's possible for you, full version, crown of the head to the floor, or again, you can use a block and arms up. These are your rabbit ears, so it's hair as in rabbit. And feel like you're trying to push the crown of your head forward as if towards the top of the mat. So you're creating some resistance, not just sinking into your head. Now the next variation, if you don't want to do it, that's fine. Kneel and stretch forward, otherwise you're grabbing onto your heels and move your shoulders away from your ears. And bend your elbows a little bit, and then imagine you're trying to get your bottom up towards the ceiling. Back into Ustrasana variation if you can. Leaning back a little bit possibly, grabbing the mat, rounding out the back. And if you don't want to do Chaturanga, the low plank, that's fine. Lie on your tummy now, otherwise do it with me. Try and do it with form. Take your time, it's easy to move quickly. So I'm going to do it from plank. You can stay in cat pose if you prefer. All right, so bottom bones again towards the heels of the hands. Upper back is rounded, look forward. Shoulders over the wrists, breathing in. Elbows to side ribs so you don't look like you've got chicken wings. And come down like a slow ironing board to the floor. Very good. Now I'm going to spin around again so you can see a little bit more easily what's going on with the next one. So we're going to do Bakasana variations. Bakasana is a frog pose. Easy versions work. This is all to release the front of the hip. Okay. So stick with the more accessible variations if you need to. Okay. So right forearm aligns, left arm down. You can pop your head on the floor. Roll your thigh in, your right thigh. You see if you pop your hand on your buttock when your thigh is rolled in, bum soft, turn your foot out. Bum goes hard, so we want a soft bottom on the left side. Now you're going to do one of two things. So either you bring your left heel to your bum and lift the thigh off the floor. If that doesn't feel nice, feels a bit weird and crampy, push your thigh down instead. See how the bum still goes firm. But if it's possible to do this version, do this version. And this right glute should stay soft. This one should be firm like a brick. So check, you're relaxed. You don't need to hold your breath. for the same amount of time that you're holding a pose. You don't need to over breathe either. As I said earlier on, keep it natural, keep it relaxed. Ask nicely rather than forcing, and your body will thank you in the end. It's like that expression, isn't it? You catch more flies with honey. And pop your left thigh down. Give it a wiggle. If you want to check in, you can. You can straighten that leg. You'll see it's longer than the other one. It feels nice and soft at the front there. So you can do that one again, or hold on to your foot if it's possible. This time we do it with resistance. So I want you to imagine you're trying to get your foot back to the floor and you're trying to bring your foot close to your bum. It's like having a bit of an arm wrestle. And then relax. Try again. All right, not an arm wrestle that you need to win, by the way. And relax. You can do the next one with your legs straight, or you can stay where you are. This is a good twist for your tummy, good for your digestion. So you use your right forearm to twist your navel to the left. Push your belly button down, particularly if it's hard on your back to do things like this. Possibly, but not necessarily, you lift your right leg. Now if you wanted to add on again, you can look forward and maybe lift your right arm. And if you have the flexibility and the ability generally, you could lift your left thigh off the floor. But you must be smiling and feeling quite relaxed if you're doing those things. And relax, relax. Check in, give it a bit of a wiggle, and I'm hoping that you're feeling the same way as me, or similarly, that your left leg is lovely and long and it feels nice at the front of that hip. So let's get the other one feeling similar. Right arm down, left forearm aligns with the top of the mat. Roll this left thigh in and press the leg down gently. Either right heel to the bum and lift the thigh off the floor. If that doesn't feel nice, you push the thigh down instead. You get a very similar feeling. Okay? Relax. Keep the breathing soft and natural. Ask nicely. Keep your attention focused on what it is that you're actually doing. Pop the right thigh down, give it a wiggle. Repeat, or hold on to your right foot. This time we do it with resistance. So a little push and relax. Try again, little push and relax. If you need to, just straighten that right leg. You can do the pose similarly. It's just like a twisting cobra. Use your left forearm to twist your navel to the right. Push your belly button down. Maybe, but not necessarily, you lift your left leg. Possibly, but again, not necessarily. You could look forward and lift your left arm. Some of you could lift your right thigh. As long as you're still smiling, relaxed, and breathing. And relax. Check in. Feels nice, feels quite even. I'm going to take you through the full frog pose, which won't be for everybody, but I do have a step one. Okay, so an alternative that most people will find that they can do instead. But we'll all start like that anyway. So just bring your arms down by the side. You can keep your forehead either on the floor, not the floor, or close to the floor. Take your legs so they're slightly, or your feet so slightly wider than the mat, and come up onto your toe tips. You can see my legs, the front of my legs aren't touching the floor. So that's the easy version that everyone can do. To add on, feet to the bottom, hold on to your feet. Maybe that's you, you're done. I'm going to give you some add-ons. You can see I turn my hands around. That's probably a really hard add-on, but you can try that if you want to. All right, so what we're going to do is keep our chin in, and maybe we lift our chest. Keeping your chin in, possibly, but not necessarily. You can lift your thighs, and if you can do those two things, maybe you can lift your chin slightly as well. But are you still smiling, breathing, relaxing? Because it's a hard pose and we don't want to force it. Relax. Try not to ping like an elastic band. Check in. And we're going to go from here into kneeling, stretching forward, and I'd like you to think about not just where you're going but how you're moving. Ideally it's not like this, always in the same place. We're going to do the worm. The worm is a forward bend, all right? So elbows to side ribs, grab the mat, chin in, tailbone down, pubic bone to the chin. The worm. And knees wide, big toes touching. Pop your bottom as close to the heels as you can. Now, if it's possible, make your arms as long as you can. If it's niggly on your neck, then that position is fine. But if it's not niggly on your neck, and sometimes this can help release your neck, arms long so your shoulders are close to your earlobes, and then push the armpits down. Then bring your chin towards the throat, and then lift the back of your body as if towards the ceiling. Now, a lot of people do this pose in class and they're a little bit like this. But you see, my arms aren't like that. Before I took you into a pretend handstand position, can you use your hands in exactly the same way that you did then? Because whatever is on the floor when you're practicing physical yoga, that's your foundation. That's your connection with the earth. So it's not cutting it. All right? So broad palms, spread the fingers, armpits down, chin to throat, back ribs up, and then tummy breathing. And at least when we're in this position, we get a sense of tractioning the spine. And if we go into down dog, or if you decide you're going to follow me into down dog a few poses from now, this is the sensation you want to feel in your spine, but you can obviously feel it here. You don't have to do a down dog. So let's come into cat pose. All right, so this is really good for core stability. And I'm going to turn around again. Sorry, I feel like I'm a dog chasing my tail, but well, it's a bit easier to see, I think. So Parigasana is a good substitute for the half plank. And we're going to do it in a way where we really challenge our core stability and also work those core muscles. So I've got my left arm forward, right leg back. In the end, it doesn't matter. Just do both sides. If you're following me, left hand down. And take your weight into the right foot. So I'm going to come up onto my left fingertips and stretch the right arm forward. So this is your easy version of the half plank. Meanwhile, if you can, take your left fingertips off the floor. If you give it a poke, you go, ooh, those muscles are strong. So we can seesaw it. We're going to be on the left fingertips now. Lift the right leg. Yep, again, muscles are strong. And then if you're super clever, try both at the same time. It's tricky. Like you're really going to work those muscles that need to be strong. Probably better than a sit-up any day. Coming back into cat pose. Let's try the second side. So this time we've got left leg, or at least I do, left leg back and right arm forward. You can always drop one or the other back to the mat. And then from here, right fingertips, push the weight into the back foot, lift the pubic bone, left arm forward. So that's your substitute for the half plank. If you can, come up onto your right fingertips or lift your right hand off the floor. Muscles are strong. Right hand down or fingers down, lift the left leg. And then maybe do both at the same time. Tricky. And back into cat pose. Okay, that's one to practice for me anyway. So you can kneel and stretch forward. Otherwise, you can follow me into the down dog now. All right, so remember those exact same principles. We're going to push the bottom bones towards the heels and lift the pubic bone. Armpits are down, and we're using the whole of the surface of both of our hands. We're not just niggling into the wrist. Look towards the belly. Breathe into the tummy. You don't want your ribs flaring in these poses. Take the weight if you can over to the left foot and lift the right leg. Feel free to rest. And if you can, right foot to the left bottom. Now from here you can drop into cat pose and you can do Parigasana, the substitute pose, or follow me into half plank Fascisthasana, which is trickier. Left palm to the center, top of the mat, turn the back foot and arm up. Now you need to push your weight out of the floor as if towards the ceiling, otherwise it's really hard. well, it's not easy, but it's harder. You can do that version too if you want to. Just to remind you, that's the easier version. Back into down dog. Alright, second side, left leg if possible. Left foot to the right bottom. Drop into cat pose, do Parigasana off, follow me. Right palm top center of the mat. Adjust the back foot, left foot on top, left arm up. Push your weight away from the floor. Push some weight into your feet. Roll the right armpit to the left. And let's come back into cat pose. Now you can, if you want to follow what I'm doing, cross your ankles, come into sitting and come down to the floor. So last part of the practice is on the floor. You get to have a little bit of a rest. If you're going to use a block or a cushion for Viparita Karani, have that handy. I should bring a block in, but cushion is fine. So feet hip width apart, lift the pubic bone, chin in. This is constructive rest position. So I really want you to use your feet for stability. This is your foundation, as we were saying earlier. Press the left foot down, take your right leg so it's 10 centimeters off the mat. And we'll do some one-legged bicycles. This is just to very gently release any tension in the hips, hamstring, lower back. We can go back, opposite direction. Go back to that first position, right leg 10 centimeters off the mat. Slowly, right leg up. Easy crisscross, right leg to the left, left knee to the right. Relax in that position or follow me. I'm going to do add-ons. Left leg to the right, reach as if for the heels. Keep your head where it is or try the sit-up. Expanding the tummy on the inhalation, chin to chest. Peel the upper body off the floor. Relax the belly. Try and get the tailbone off the mat too if you can. Coming back down. Anchor your left foot, right thigh to chest. Interlink your hands around the right shin. Push your shin into your palms briefly and then relax. If it's enough, stay. A more dynamic version is where you flatten your left leg to the ground, press your heel and the back of your left thigh down into your mat, so it's not passive, and then push the shin into the palms, press the shoulder blades down, and just as you did when you did Matsyasana, the fish pose earlier, feel like you're trying to lift the front of your body to the ceiling. So you'll feel your middle spine lifting away from the mat. Relax, let the back of the body sink back down and pop your left foot down. Feel free to stay. This next exercise is going to help to relax your shoulder and these muscles down the side of your neck, scalings, okay? Hold on to either your calf, your ankle, or the outside of your right foot. Now your elbow, your arms needs to be bent. You need to push your elbow forward, all right? So your armpit goes firm. And imagine you're trying to get your foot to the ceiling, but you're trying to bring the thigh to the floor. All right? So this is a similar action to the one that you do if you're climbing something, you're pulling yourself up. So in yoga we do a lot of pushing, push-ups, but we don't do a lot of pulling. This is a really good exercise to release your neck. Relax, hug, foot to the floor. So you'll notice you feel different, not just in your hips, but this right shoulder will be pressing closer to the floor than the other one. All right, so let's try the other side. So grip with the right foot, left leg straight, 10 centimeters off the mat, and we'll do one-legged bicycles. Opposite direction. Back to the first position and lift your left leg slowly. Now you move slowly because you get more length in the muscle when you move slowly. You don't get that stretch reflex reaction. Easy crisscross, left leg to the right. Stay there, just relax, or follow me. Right leg to the left, reach as if for the heels. Leave your head where it is, that's fine. Or expand the tummy on the inhale, chin to chest, peeling the upper body off the mat. Maybe you can lift your tailbone. Breathe into the tummy. Relax. And pop your right foot down, thigh to chest, interlink the hands around the left shin. Give it a push and then relax, stay there, or do the more dynamic one. Remember, you do need to do that if that's what you did on the other side, or you will be more lopsided than probably you normally are. We're all lopsided in a way. So press the right heel down, the back of your right thigh down, and push your shin into your palms. Press the shoulder blades down, and imagine you're lifting your belly, chest, collarbones as if to the ceiling. And then relax, let the back of the body sink. Pop your right foot on the mat. Stay here if you need to. Otherwise, this is the exercise that releases the neck and the shoulder. Calf or ankle or the outside of your left foot. Elbow forward, not back because it won't work. So forward, armpit needs to switch on. Feel like you're trying to get your, what am I trying to say? Thigh to the floor, but you're trying to push your foot to the ceiling at the same time. Bicep muscle lets you know if you're doing it properly. Relax, hug, foot down, check in. Your shoulders should feel quite similar now. So one more stretch, and then we're going to finish off with some bridge poses and some relaxation, okay? So banana stretch, I'll show you, or I'll explain when you're doing this one how to do it in a way that will release your neck and your shoulders as well as your side body. So thighs to the side ribs. Hug your left thigh a little bit closer. Pop your right foot close to the left glute and use your right foot to lift your bum and shuffle your left glute to your left armpit so that your right leg can go over to the left side. I'm going to move over a little bit, okay? So you're anchoring your heel, right glute, bring the right arm across the body and lengthen into the fingers if possible. So the first thing is, if your neck is really stiff, don't do anything else, stay where you are. But if your neck is just normally stiff, like we're all a bit normally stiff in our neck, turn to the right side as if you were trying to sniff your armpit and press the right side of your head down, not too firmly, just a little bit of tensioning. Now this left thigh, can you push your shin into your palm as if you're trying to push the leg away? But also push your palm back into your shin as if you're trying to bring the left thigh closer. So that's going to help release your shoulder. But then you need to relax on the inside. So when we talk about relaxing the core, in yoga we're usually talking about relax the brain, relax the throat, relax the eyes, relax the pelvic floor, the anus. All those things that we tend to tense without even realizing that we're doing it. It's just a little bit of a habitual fear response. And relax. Now you move slowly because it's quite a strong stretch. Bring the right arm down slowly, turn the head slowly, right thigh back slowly, little gentle wiggle. Pop your feet on the mat and just even yourself out so you're, in other words, coming into a more symmetrical position, or at least you hope you are. It's hard to tell sometimes. But you'll notice again there's discrepancies. You feel a little bit odd. I'm going to do the other side. Okay, so thighs to the side ribs. Hug your right thigh close. Left foot on the mat and just use your left foot to lift and shuffle your right glute close to the right armpit. Left leg to the right. Anchor the heel. The left glute. Left arm across the body. Provided your neck isn't super stiff, look towards the left armpit and press down gently. Push your right shin into the right palm as if you're trying to push that leg away, but you're trying to pull that right thigh closer to the side body. And then relax. Relax the core of the body, but be aware of the softness. We want softness on the inside. You'll feel tension, no doubt, on the lower left side of the belly, hip flexor area, psoas. Psoas connects to your diaphragm, main muscle of breathing. So it's related to your ability to digest and to manage stress in your life. Slowly, left arm down, slowly, gently turn the head, Slowly left thigh back. Slowly, slowly, little wiggles. Pop your feet on the floor. Come into a nice symmetrical position. Just constructive rest for a few seconds just to recalibrate the spine. And check in, and hopefully things feel a little bit more even. You feel pressed into the mat. That's often how you know you've released some muscles. So we're going to do some bridge poses to finish. I'm going to show you some easy but still dynamic ways to do these. So you have your feet about hip width apart in a neutral position. Grip with the toes and press your feet down quite firmly. Lift your pubic bone slightly, chin in, but feel like you're trying to lift your chin. Feel like you're trying to squeeze your heels gently towards the center as if you were squeezing a block or something between your thighs. And have your arms on a similar plane to your thighs. So as you lift the pubic bone, that might be enough. You might just hang out there. There's a few things going on. Otherwise, keep your attention on the pubic bone and connect your inhalation breath as well. So as you inhale, feel like you're trying to get your pubic bone higher up towards your chin. And apart from all those little sensations in the groin and the lower belly, eventually you will find the front of your hips lift to the ceiling. Make your arms a little bit longer, your fingers a little bit more elongated. Find the place between effort and surrender, or sthira sukham as it is in yoga philosophy. Relax the belly. Pop the arms down by the side. Now if your neck is stiff, abnormally stiff, maybe stick with this one or come out of the pose. Otherwise, this is good in between stiff necks. So you shuffle, lift up on one side to shuffle the one arm under, do the same on the other side, join hands, and then maybe you can shuffle your shoulders towards the bottom of the mat. Maybe you can press your arms down. Chin massaging the throat. This is nice for the thyroid, but you could lift the chin ever so slightly, 1/3 of a millimeter, to create that resistance. Keep the tummy breathing. And then drop your bottom. Just enough, maybe 1/3, so that you can release your shoulders. If you're using a cushion or a block or something else, rolled up blanket, grab that and pop it. But you hope your bottom is going to land. There's not very far to go, especially if you're using a block, so do this last bit with form, with attention. Try and roll down joint by joint as if all of your vertebrae were moving independently of the ones either side. And once your bottom lands, adjust, take your feet up towards the ceiling, keep your knees relaxed, toes relaxed. Hang out there for a few seconds. This is really good for your nervous system. I would really encourage you to do the relaxation part of the practice, as it's really where the magic happens and everything that we do kind of integrates all that juiciness for your body. You know, you don't just stretch to release muscles, you have to relax to let your muscles release. We carry around a lot of tension. But if you do nothing else, do this one and finish off with the fish pose. And you can always come back to the relaxation part later if you don't have as much time as you hoped. So if you're not using a block, you can bring the knees to your armpits, but if you are using something, pop your toes on the floor, lift your bum and get it out the way. And if it's more comfortable for you, bring one knee at a time to your armpits. Bring your arms in between your thighs and just push your arms into your thighs and your thighs back into your arms and relax. And then hold on to your shins and bring your knees just that little bit closer to your armpits. Create resistance by pushing shins into palms, palms into shins. and then relax. So we're going to finish the way we started. So fish pose, Matsyasana, broaden across the upper back. Press the shoulder blades down, bring your chin in, and then relaxing the belly. Expand the tummy on the inhale. Feel like you're lifting your belly, chest, collarbone, as if towards the ceiling. Front of the body big, middle spine moves away from your mat. And then relax. Allow the back of your body to sink back down. Bring your thighs together. Pop the arms down by the side. And give your hips a little bit of a wiggle. And you can pop your feet on your mat. Constructive rest position. You can leave your arms where they are, but maybe turn your palms up. You can have your hands on your belly. You could shimmy your feet out to the side. Let your knees drop together. Or maybe some of you feel comfortable in Baddha Konasana. If you have a cushion or a bolster, it can be nice to put your feet on the cushion or the bolster. I'm going to take you through a little breathing exercise before we do complete rest. If you know the practice because you've done it with me a fair few times in class, you can just begin when you're ready, but I'll explain it. So this is Viloma Krama. Viloma means against the order. Krama means steps. And we're going to work with the exhalation. We're going to exhale in 3 even stages, following an inhalation similar to the one we did at the beginning of the class. So 3/4 of a lungful in. Now when we exhale in 3 even stages, instead of pushing the air out like we might normally do, we go, okay, I've got to exhale like this, or whatever, something like that. That was a bit of an exaggeration. I want you to imagine that your lungs are like a bicycle tyre that has a slow puncture. You can't hear the air coming out. Not perceptible, you can't see it. So just as you did at the beginning of the class, you're going to take that breath in and then you're going to relax and you're going to allow 1/3 of that air to come out naturally, and then you're going to stop it as if you were putting your thumb over the hypothetical bike tyre. And then you're going to take your thumb off the hypothetical bike tyre with the puncture, and you're going to allow another 1/3 of the air to naturally leave your lungs. And then you're going to do the same thing. So we're not forcing the air. It's natural, it's passive, it's quite relaxed. Maybe not all the air will end up coming out, that's okay. But I want you to notice what happens when you pause. The pause is called kumbhaka, and you can do kumbhaka on an inhale, that's called a breath retention, or on the exhale, and that's a breath suspension. And the magic is in the space. And then the next time you feel as if you have completed an exhalation round, there's no hurry, just come back to the natural rhythm of your breath without forcing. In other words, just let go of any sense of controlling your breath or anything else. Just adjust your position if you need to. If you don't, if you're comfortable, stay where you are. But for the last part of your practice, try and completely surrender into sensation. It might be helpful to bring your awareness to a particular aspect of your body, either physical or physiological, and try and maintain your focus on that particular thing. If you feel as if you need a longer relaxation, then you can just mute the recording. Otherwise, I'm going to take you through the last part of the practice. We're going to finish off with an inhalation. We'll do this as a visualization. I'd just like you to bring your attention to each part of the body that we bring the breath into, and really get that sense that you are bringing a fresh supply of blood and other nutrients into all of those areas. You're creating space and you're becoming very aware of sensation associated with each of these places. So let's just start by bringing our attention to the lowest part of the belly, so around the pelvic floor area, pubic abdomen, right at the base of the spine. To see if there are any sensations, physical or emotional, that come into your mind that seem to be associated with that particular part of your body. Try not to search for something better than the first thing that came into your head. You can go back to it later, have a bit of a deeper think about it. But for now, just feel as if you're taking a little sip of air in to that part of the body. Feel the lower belly expand, sense it becoming warm, feeling spacious and nourished. And follow your breath into the main part of the belly. So around the navel area, often known as the power center. Dantian in Chinese philosophy, which means the same as brain. Belly and brain have the same word. Visualize, if you can, your digestive system, all of those important organs, the nerves that surround that area, the enteric nervous system, the feeling brain, governed by the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest response. So how we feel and how we digest, these two things inextricably linked. We're not just digesting food, we're digesting and processing life experiences. So how is that going for you? Just visualize that whole area free, warm, nourished. And follow your breath now into the chest, just feeling the ribs lifting slightly out of the waist, and visualizing the heart, the lungs, and the circulatory system, essentially a little bit like a road map. We are made up of tunnels and channels, and everything needs to flow without impediment, without obstruction. So visualize, if you can, your heart, your lungs, and your circulatory system working together synergistically, moving blood around the body and bringing oxygen into the cells. Allow the throat to relax and follow your breath through the throat to the crown of the head again, just noticing sensation, whether physical or emotional, that seems to be associated with that part of your body. And then allow your mind, your brain, and your nervous system to completely soften and relax. And when you're ready to exhale, follow that if you can, not just as a feeling of release, a feeling of surrender, but also a sense that in this moment at least, everything is as it should be, everything is in its place. So follow that idea if you can, down the back of your head, your neck, the upper back, across your shoulders, the middle back, lower back, across the top of your pelvis, and the buttocks, and tailbone, down through each of your legs, and the heels, and out through the tips of each of your toes. And in your own time, you can give your fingers and your toes a wiggle. You can squeeze your eyes and your eyelids together, and you can bring your arms up above your head and give your whole body one last big stretch. You could bring up your left knee and roll yourself gently to the right side, or you might like to bring up both of your knees, give yourself a bit of a rock, and then roll yourself gently to the right side. And before I go, I just want to say thank you for supporting me and committing to classes in 2020. It's been a funny year all around, and it's been nice to have this connection, even if it's a remote one. So if I don't get to see you and I don't speak to you, have a wonderful festive season, everybody. Namaste.